Okay, squad, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I cooked something up. Ever since I picked up Vanquish Soul, I've been wanting to try a different strategy with it. Now I'm going a completely different direction and trying to play Vanquish Soul in a different way and kind of throwing back to like way back my original Yu-Gi-Oh days back at school with cards. I loved the cards that could do burn damage. Okay, so you know where this is going a little bit. My goal here is to try to burn my opponent for 8,000, and you can do it all basically in a fairly standard Vanquish Soul deck with just a little bit of extra tech that's not really that bricky. Like, you don't have to achieve this strategy in order to win the game. Like, this is a multifaceted deck. You can play this in a standard Vanquish Soul form, or you can go for the full burn strategy if that's the hand you open. So we're going to go ahead and talk through it. I'm going to show you guys the deck profile, and then I'm going to show you all the tools that we can use to burn our opponent for damage and hopefully just win the game with an alternate win condition in Vanquish Soul as it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and go through the main deck first. And this is going to be a lot of fun for me. I've been waiting, I've been working on this deck for a long time, and I'm excited to show you guys. Okay, so our Vanquish Soul lineup is going to be fairly standard. Okay, so 3 Raisin, that's always what we want to see. It's still the best starter, even in this version. And then we're going to be on 3 Xiaolong. Now, that's weird right now, but you'll see why in a little bit, or maybe you already know why. But 3 Xiaolong in this particular version is going to be kind of nice, and definitely is going to increase our consistency of being able to just burn for game. We have 2 copies of Mad Love here. This is going to be pretty good because searching the trap card is going to be good for the burn damage. And then 2 copies of Borger. Just the 2. I don't think we need 3, but we do want to see Borger every turn for that 1500 burn. It's one of our most important sources of burn damage. And then we have 2 copies of Caesar Valius as well, just for Earth targets. We do need Earths to burn with Borger, and then we also want to have just that ability to push through boards, or just to play a standard Vanquish Soul strategy, ignoring all the burn stuff. Okay, now we have 3 copies of Staker Soul as is standard, and then our consistency: 1 Rhoda for the Raisin, 1 Durandal for the Raisin, and 1 Continue, just for more pushes. And then 1 copy of Snow Devil is definitely necessary. Not playing the Dust Devil. Snow Devil does 1800 burn if you have all 3 attributes, and we're gonna hope to resolve that pretty frequently. So already within the Vanquish Soul strategy, before we put in any new shit, before we put in anything that spicy, we already have a lot of burn abilities. So we have Snow Devil, which burns for 18. We have Borger, which can burn for 1500 twice. So that's already, what, 4800 damage on the board just within our engine that we're already playing. All right, so now let's move on to our honorary Vanquish Soul cards, which are 2 copies of Raitsoth, 3 copies of Fenrir, and 1 copy of Riseheart, just for the Kashtira package. Like, Kashtira cards are just so good in Vanquish Soul, and we are definitely going to want to set up Fenrir and Riseheart, and we can look into the extra deck and see what kind of tools we have that we don't typically play or depend on in our standard standard Vanquish Soul stuff. Alright, so this is where the spice comes in. This is the new package. It's 6 cards, and it's going to be really clutch in getting that extra burn. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of Sword Soul Strategist Longyuan and 3 copies of Sword Soul Emergence to search that Longyuan. Now, what's the synergy here? What are the worms in our deck? Well, if you don't know, Vanquish Soul Xiaolong is a worm-type monster. Okay, so we can search the Xiaolong with Raisin, we can summon out the Xiaolong, we can bounce back the Xiaolong with the Heavy Borger, and then use that Xiaolong in our hand to discard for the Longyuan to go into a level 10 Synchro. The Longyuan will burn for 12. Our Synchro monsters are going to do some burn. So all of this is really going to work together quite nicely to incorporate our burn strategy. And honestly, these cards are not so bad. Like, even if we draw like double Emergence or like Emergence Longyuan, we can just search a Longyuan and discard a Longyuan with the Longyuan or just discard the emergence with the Long Yuan and just have a level 10 synchro play, and that's going to be like not that terrible, honestly. So that's all going to be pretty solid and pretty consistent as is, and we'll go through some test hands to try to get some nice burn damage in. We're going to be on 2 copies of Desires. We can't play Prosperity in this deck because obviously we don't want to half the damage that we're inflicting to our opponents. We're trying to inflict maximum damage, so Desires is going to be nice. We could play a third one, but honestly I had 2 slots left and I just figured 2 Desires would be fine. We could play a third Desires at 41 cards and that would be I think perfectly acceptable. And then for the hand traps, 3 copies of Ash, still good, and still a fire target. More fires in this deck is better. 3 copies of Mourner and Moonlit Chill. So this is just more burn on top of what we already have, and this card is not that bad. Like, it's not, I don't consider this a brick. Like, this is still a very playable card in this meta, and I think that if we can just do 1,000, 2,000 burn with Mourner, we're going to be in great shape. And then for our last card is just one more hand trap, 1 copy of Ghost Spell, just for an earth target for 1 more hand trap interruption, and kind of like the last hand trap slot, I figured Ghost Spell would be the best option for that, just for the attributes, because sometimes we're a little bit short on earth attributes for our Borger to do our burn damage. So yeah, that's going to be our 40 card main. Now let's go into the extra deck, and then I'll talk about kind of some combos and ideas that we're going to try to follow. So for the extra, so we have 3 copies of Rock for our links, plus 1 copy of SP. So SP is not super necessary in Vanquish Soul, just because it's kind of hard to make with the extra deck monster, especially because Rock cannot be used as link material. So, you know, if you're on a little bit more of a budget, well, first of all, if you're on a budget, you're probably not playing Vanquish Soul, but, you know, if you can't afford SP or you don't have access to one, it's really not a big deal at all. For our Xyz monsters, okay, don't troll me. We're playing 1 copy of Cowboy for game. Cowboy burn for 800. We're just going for all of the little niche ways we can get in some damage, and sometimes just that extra 800 is what we need. 1 copy of Dweller, it's still good. And then we have our Zodiac package. We have Chaka 9 and Borbo, and then our Dempsey to search Raisin if necessary. For the remaining Xyz, we have 1 copy of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. If you don't know what this does, it does 500 damage each time your opponent activates a card or effect. Kind of like Masquerade the Blazing Dragon in Branded, but this one's 500 damage, and it's not able to be destroyed by card effects. So you can just summon this out with your Fenrir and Riseheart really easily and just tax for 500 every time. And with all of the other damage that we already have coming in this burn strategy, we're going to be looking pretty good. Then we have Zeus and Typhon, just the standard Xyz monsters stuff. And then for the last 3 cards, we have 3 synchro monsters. So our primary target for synchros is going to be the Sinister Long Yuan. And this one does 1200 burn when your opponent special summons a monster, and then another 1200 when your opponent activates a spell or trap. Plus it banishes that spell or trap or special summon monster. So it's a really nice interruption. We have 1 Chen Ying as well, which pairs really well with the trap card because Chen Ying can't be destroyed, or you can like banish something to protect it instead. And then we can still get a double banish on our opponent's field as well when that resolves. So, and then it kind of just boosts up really big, especially if we use Pot of Desires. And then just 1 copy of Baron de Fleur as our final level 10 synchro monster. You know, if we're going second, we're probably not going for that burn strategy. So we do want some nice burn, nice going second options, really nice powerful monsters to summon going second to be able to clear boards and kind of play through whatever our opponent has set up for us. Okay, so that's the 15 card extra. Now let's go ahead and talk through a little bit of comboing and see what we can do with our deck. So for our first combo, we're going to look at if we have Long Yuan and Raisin, and then actually, honestly, this combo, 2-card combo, is going to be pretty nice, but really what we need on top of that is Fenrir as well. So we're going to just go for this and see what happens. So we're going to start with a special summon Fenrir, and then we can go Fenrir effect. At this point in the combo, we have to decide, do we want to search a Fenrir so Borger can burn, or do we want to search a Riseheart so we can summon the Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon? So in this case, I think we're going to just go for the heavy Borger burn, and we're going to search out another copy of Fenrir. And then here we can normal summon our Raisin. Raisin effect can search a copy of Xiaolong. There we go. We can go Raisin effect, reveal the Xiaolong, and then we can summon the Xiaolong on resolution. We can link our Raisin off for a copy of Rock. And then we can rock, let me scoot all this down, we can rock, add back our Raisin. So now our hand is Long Yuan, Fenrir, Raisin. We can go Xiaolong effect, reveal the Raisin and the Long Yuan to search a copy of Borger. Let me find that Borger in here somewhere. Here's a copy of Borger. Okay, so now we have these 4 cards in hand. And then we can go Borger effect, return the Xiaolong to hand, summon out the Borger. And now here, why not? Let's go ahead and Borger, reveal an Earth and a Fire, which is our Fenrir and Xiaolong, to burn for 15. So that's our first 1500 burn. Now what we can do is activate Long Yuan, pitching the Xiaolong to our graveyard to summon the Long Yuan and a token. There we go, Long Yuan and a token. Let me zoom out a little bit here as well because it's getting a little cramped. Okay, so this is our board. Xiaolong is in our graveyard over here, and here's our hand of Raisin and Fenrir. Now we can go synchro Long Yuan and the token into a copy of the other Long Yuan, the sinister one, and then we can burn for another 1200 here. Okay, so that's kind of nice. And then we can, let's see, basically we are going to have to pass here, but this is a pretty solid board. But this is going to burn for another 12 when our opponent special summons. It's going to burn for another 12 when they activate a spell or trap. This is going to burn for another 15. We can just activate this in draw phase to burn for another 15. And then if we have the trap card, that's 1800 for game. So that would be pretty clutch. But, you know, it's not always, you know, ideal like that. But this is a pretty standard hand. And it's just Raisin plus Fenrir plus Long Yuan. All of these cards are searchable by the other cards in our deck. So this is not that outlandish to have. Imagine a Mourner on top of this. You know, if we're already doing 6600 burn, if you Mourner a 1400 or higher monster, they just can't use that for anything, you know, or else they just lose and stuff like that. If they don't out the Borger, then another 1500 damage on top of it when your turn comes around. So that's all super clutch and kind of like a really fun strategy, a fun addition to play with Vanquish Soul. That's not just your standard, you know, Raisin Turbo kind of deck. You can also go for a Long Yuan. You can incorporate some fancy tech cards into your deck and have a little bit more fun playing the deck, okay? Because it gets a little stale. There's not a whole lot of new innovation that's been happening with this deck since it came out. So we're trying to innovate a little bit, trying to have a little bit more fun and kind of see what we can do with this deck and kind of spice it up. So hope you enjoyed that. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the channel. And with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. We'll see you later.